And we are back on the chosen journey, and it's chapter 5, part 2. And the listeners write in and have their comments for Steve on his mind-blowing viral TikTok clip talking about fatherhood and the reasoning for leaving professional baseball coaching to be with his son. Andrew E writes in, and I had to prod him a little bit on more information, but he was really good about this. Holy cow, I know he won't see this, but I remember meeting him as a kid back in 1996 when he pitched for the Modesto A's. He was my favorite pitcher. So tell us more, Andrew. My family had season tickets, and we went to every game when I was 11 and 12. My stepdad and I used these games as a bonding experience and became close. I haven't heard his name in a long time, and this was a great memory of mine as a child. Watching Steve pitch helped us bond. We were there every game. I got to meet Steve a few times, and he signed some autographs. He was such a great guy, and glad to hear he's doing well. Amazing.
That's special, to go back in time and to hear how I was able to help and not even knowing it, that they were able to bond together as a father and son, coming to the games and watching that. In Modesto in 1996, I was rehabbing for my Tommy John surgery, and I was able to have to spend the year in Modesto, which is about an hour from Oakland, to get my arm, back into shape and to try to help the big league Cub. And I spent a year there, and I'm touched and I'm honored that he remembered me and that I was able to help them out a little bit in bonding with watching a little bit of baseball and watching me pitch.
So, and it's gonna be, I don't want to ask an unfair question, but in reality, I think as a lawyer, let's say I close 800 real estate transactions in 1 year. And the amount of people I'm meeting to get those transactions done, it translates to like 1,200 people. And I'll meet somebody in a supermarket 4 years later. Remember me? You closed my house deal 4 years ago. I can't remember what I ate for dinner last night, So your experiences for all those years in the big leagues, if you had to fathom how many autographs you signed in those years, how many would you guess ballpark?
That's a great question. I have no idea. I mean,
throw a number, like 10,000, 100,000.
No, I tried to sign as many autographs as I could. People sent them in the mail, and I tried to get back as many as I could, with the time that I had. But it's really, really hard to pinpoint a specific number on how many I actually signed.
So we appreciate them writing in. Andrew remembered, and you know what? Him and his stepdad got to bond over watching you and watching the team, and that was fantastic to hear. Gonna pre-warn you on the next one. Please be ready. This one is not an easy one. I'm sorry, but this helps deliver home why we make these decisions that we do. A user wrote in, "Good job, Dad. My son died at age 20. I survived because I got to spend time with him. And I told him, sorry for your loss. He goes, thank you. I miss my Eddie." So we never know when life's going to be taken from us. And it could be, the worst, as parents, the worst thing possible in life is to outlive your child, and I was born because my parents lost a child before me, and I was the replacement child, and I knew that. And, I've seen people in my position that say, it's not fair that I was born. I never wanted this. And I always thought I love life. I'm so grateful for life. I'm sorry that she had passed. It was a sister of mine, but I'm grateful that I got to live and follow and everything. And my reasoning, the universe provided to get me here. So I'm just going to be grateful for the life I have. And, reading that kind of comment today, look at your child today and say, thank goodness you're here and I got to spend time with you. So our heart reaches out to this viewer.
Absolutely. Nothing worse. I mean, to hear that story, I'm just happy that he was able to spend as much time as he possibly could, because life is so short, and you just never know what can happen.
So going from very touching to Flaky Jake. Flaky Jake writes in, "And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon." So he thought he was being very funny. And we all know that song, and don't lie, we've all cried when we heard that song one time or another. We know what Flaky's meaning by that. Yo Polly, 1965 writes in, "Best advice I got from my dad. By example, When you become a dad, means you're all in caps. Every time. Families, your hobbies, count myself blessed.
Absolutely. I think, as I got older and as obviously, we had our son and I got to experience that. All the guys that are younger who I've coached are starting to start families. They're starting to have their own children. And my advice to them is always, your life is about to change like you've never had it change before. It's not about you anymore. It's about your child. And I try to let them know, like, you're going to have to start thinking about things in a different light, in a different aspect, because everything is going to revolve around your child and how you raise them, as opposed to, you know, being self-evident and everything about yourself, because that's what you're so used to, that you now have to give everything that you've taken in for yourself back to your family and back to your child.
And on that note, I will tell the listeners and viewers, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because you never know. Every week we post a chapter in the documentary series, The Chosen Journey. You never know where we're going to hit as far as Steve's baseball story goes, life stories, and how everything is interconnected. So we got a big journey ahead of us. So please hit that subscribe button. If you haven't watched the previous episodes, I would definitely say watch it, listen to it, because they all kind of fit in together. 1000%. And again, as a warning, Steve has not heard these, watched these at all. This is all new to him. So he took the chance that, yeah, I want to see my reaction on the air. So let's do it. Nate Felder writes in, that made me tear up. Damn, like, how do you not almost decide right there? LOL. And sounds like Steve's brain was going from the moment he heard that.
Yep.
Chaz's Fish Talk writes in, I quit my job where I was making $48K for a $30K job because I didn't get to see my son for 3 days because of working late. LOL. There we go.
Yeah, same type of deal, right? I mean, having an understanding of, he didn't see his son for 3 days. There are times I didn't see my son for 3 weeks, 6 weeks, because of the situation. And, that's nobody's fault. It's the situation I was in. It's what I chose to do. It's the job that I had. And again, it comes down to, at some point, you make a decision one way or another. And it just got to the point where that decision was made at a particular time.
Let's put this in perspective, something you and I never even discussed. But the reality of it is, Milwaukee Brewers, without going into their specific dynamics of who they chose and how the process works, talking in general, we got 30 teams. We got only so many positions to go around. One of the bullpen coach jobs come up in a major league team. How many guys out there are ready to grab that in a second if offered it?
Well, if you think about it, major league team, right? 30 teams, you just said it. 30 pitching coach jobs, 30 bullpen coach jobs, 30 hitting coach jobs, 30 managers. What is in the world at the highest level? And, obviously there are a lot of people who want those jobs. They're special jobs, and you try to do the best you can to achieve, yourself at the highest level. And I've always challenged myself. When I was a player, I challenged myself to play at the highest level for as long as I possibly could. And then when I got into coaching, I just didn't get into coaching, to be complacent. I got into coaching to get to the highest level that I possibly could. But my ultimate goal was to get back to the big leagues as a coach. And I felt like that if I did that, that would be a success. And then, the other ultimate goal is, once you get to the big leagues, either a player or a coach, is to win a World Series and to win a ring. And that's the competitor in me. It's a competitor of everybody with what they want to do and what job they want to achieve. But sometimes you get to the top of the mountain and win that ring, and sometimes you don't. And that's just part of life.
My dynamic in this is twofold. Number one, coaching in the Guardians, back then the Indians system,
Yes.
as a pitching coach, and going up the ranks, how many years you put in and paid your dues, then coming and getting the job with the Brewers, getting that position, 3 years with the Brewers as the bullpen coach. Like it's not that this was an overnight thing, folks. This is a lot of grind and commitment. A lot of sacrifices already come all along the way in Steve's journey to get to this point. And then to say, I built this up and, I go on this path. I could be a future major league pitching coach. Maybe I'll be a manager one day, whatever I'm going to be. There's always sorts of doors that can open if I stay in it. And to make that decision, yeah, some could say sacrifice, which some did say in the viewership here. And others would say, fantastic. But that's one aspect of it as far as his decision and his grind and his mindset, Steve's mindset, as far as where he went. But then again, look at 30 teams, then look at how many minor league teams are in each of the major league organizations. Never mind now other countries. Like there's baseball being played all over the world. But if we even just go to every single minor league team of every single organization, and Lord knows how many pitching coaches and bullpen coaches there are in total, and each of them you say, I will bring you to the Brewers. You can be the bullpen coach. I'm betting you that if there's 10,000 positions, let's say it's 5,000 positions, I think 4,999 of them are saying yes. That's how valuable that spot was. And that's how important your son is to you.
Absolutely. There's so many things that are important in life, right? And,
yes.
You have to prioritize what is the most important. And I think we all, within ourselves understand what that is.
I hear the viewers already typing in TikTok. Please, Jonathan, please, Steve, let's keep going. Let's hear more of these. We got Kevin LN. You got it. Your obligation. Good move. You changed your family's life. Samantha Neb writes in, simply beautiful. Mark Mordechai, you are a blessed person. B-Dub, great decision. You can't get that time back. Exclamation mark. Enjoy your family. Another user number writes in, great choice. You will, in capitals, never regret. Another user, you can't buy back that time. Another user, that decision changed that little man's life forever. Good job, Dad. Janie Scorpio, what a great father. I wish all dads would understand this. Leslie Ranslem writes in, bravo, you're a great dad. God bless, with a lot of smiley heart faces. Mad Max Home, great dad. He is almost choking up. You were almost choking up there, weren't you, Steve?
Yeah, I appreciate all of the responses about being a great dad. But you know what? There are a lot of other people out there who are great dads. I just get to talk about it with you.
Yes.
And I get to talk about it on a bigger platform. And yeah, I feel like the decision I made, I'm super blessed, as one of the writers wrote in, super blessed to be able to make this decision and be a good dad or a great dad. But there's so many other people out there, as we talked about, that are great dads, don't get the applause that they should.
Andrew writes in, I chose my career as a teacher so I could be there for my kids in the summer. The pay isn't great, but we're together every holiday and break. Vic writes in, my son does this and he is 4. So I guess telling him, Dad, you need to be around. Barbara X Streisand writes in, it's got to be hard to leave baseball. Good call. Will Clark and lots of others did the same. Clark's just my fave. I don't know, man. I was a Will Clark fan. I had no idea that Will Clark did that. I said,
Will the Thrill, unbelievable career, unbelievable player.
That swing, one of the sweetest swings ever. Never forget 89 Oakland A's playoffs. Man, that guy was a monster. And he went to the same, he played with Rafael Palmeiro. They were,
that's right.
Yeah, Mississippi State.
That's correct.
What a powerhouse. See, useless information and useful information. It's all in there. When I met Palmeiro, actually, I said to him, I'm a huge Will Clark fan, actually. Nice to meet you. And like, I became a Palmeiro fan, but he gave me that look. It's like, are you not a fan of mine? Chuck writes in, it wasn't because he couldn't get anyone out anymore. Well, I think those days passed a few years ago. There's no comeback pitching, is there, Steve? So
there's no comeback pitching, but you know what? Everybody's career ends at a certain point, and Father Time never loses.
A user writes in, you understand the assignment. They're only young for a short time. Smiley face. Sean DT writes in, same with Buster, I think. Sad for baseball, but work is not as important as your kids. Okay. Jamie Fitter writes in, yes. YASS exclamation mark. Okay. Lots of smiley faces. Namastes, smiley faces, hearts. Matt Eanes writes in, Dad win. Austin Yancey, good for you, Dad. Matt Griswold, Dad win. JR writes in, bravo, sir. Good dad. Kids know. Autism speech therapy. What a great dad. So you see, it goes on. Cynthia, great decision. Toledo guy, great choice. Patricia Westfall, good for you, dad. Heart. Dana Puza, 100, best decision. Lisa writes in, why am I crying? Jay Boonitz, great. Jesse O'Neill writes in a question. Hey, Steve, remember the Bayside Yankees?
I remember the Bayside Yankees and Mark Cassetta, who's my coach, who I still stay in contact with today. It was a summer league team that I played with throughout high school. And, it was a travel ball team that, made some friends on and was able to experience. So yes, I do remember the Bayside Yankees.
Remember Jesse O'Neill?
If he's my age, I would hope I would remember him.
We don't know his age. I asked him for more info as well, but we did not get it back. Josh Ramey, good for you, Dad. James Bryan, good for you, bud. I was able to coach all my kids through adolescence, some of the greatest times of my life.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's fantastic. I try to teach Kingston a little bit now, and sometimes we butt heads, but he has a better understanding of that, and he's getting used to me being at home more often.
Kingston Karsay, that's your boy. How old is he now? 11?
He's 11.
He's 11. What's it like now? We're in the spring, going to summer. What's it like to be able to be home right now and see your boy play on the weekends during the week? Explain that feeling.
That's great. I mean, I just never had the opportunity to do this. In the prior years with coaching, I would leave at the end of spring training, and I would watch his games either, on video or on what they call Game Changer, is where they kind of just plug in the balls and the strikes and what they do. So you kind of get an idea of what the boys are doing, but you don't get to see it live in person. And, like any father, they're proud of their children. They're proud of what they do, no matter what they do. And to be able to sit there and sit back and watch them grow, whether it's as an athlete, as a art student, as whatever it might be, then, it just puts a smile on your face.
Beautiful. And we'll hear more of the stories as time will go along on Kingston and your guys' adventures together. TT writes in, you are my favorite baseball player. Well done. Dave Fiorito, a hero, an exclamation. He gets it. Steve Anderson, do what your heart tells you. Todd Newens writes in, I am now your biggest fan, with a smiley heart face. User writes in, too bad family courts don't understand kids missing dads. Cody Cummings, I have a feeling at the age of 11, bro, he probably understood since he was a child, like 4 to 5 years old. And then it set up the firestorm of the discussions. And Cody writes in, before you all come for me, I think what he did was great. Same time, I think his poor son probably felt like that for years. Love to see, will do. My son really likes that. Thanks. So he's excited to be watching the documentary series. So he started off a little trolling. He took it back a little bit, and then he gets it.
But that's okay. Like, my son never knew anything different from the time he was born that I went and was coaching and doing what I was doing. And then he just got to the point. Maybe he knew at 4 and 5 and wasn't able to express it. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. But at the end of the day, when he was able to, put his feelings out there on that car ride and have an understanding of what was going to happen in a month and a half or 2 months or so, then it really brought it to the forefront and shone a light on it.
And I warned you, man. Internet, you never know what's gonna go with. C translation agreed to at 11 question marks. Bro, he understood that at 6. So these are the internet people, and these are the kind of comments, Steve. So careful what you ask for. Thomas writes Dad W, which means Dad win. Acosta writes in, teach him Dad has to work to put food on the table. Or you made enough, you don't have to work. What's the better message? So we kind of touched upon that as well.
Yeah, right? I think there's a message to both sides of that.
Clemmy 456. I remember this was one of the first ones that came in. Amazing! Exclamation marks. Congratulations on getting this right. My husband works from home and couldn't care less about our daughter. Okay, so we won't go.
That's a tough one. That's a
Sorry to
tough
hear
one.
that. I hope that inspires them to maybe care more. We won't go there. Javier Miranda, the sad truth about the working people, and meaning that this is the reality decisions we have to make. Another user wrote in, yep, right decision. We bring these children into this world and then expect them to be without us. Well, hopefully, they don't actually expect it, but we know that there's going to be sacrifices along the way, right?
Absolutely.
D2 writes in your kid. He wrote your sin, but he meant your kid. So he corrected that. That was a typo. I'm like, your sin. I'm like, oh boy, what is going on here? Writes in, your kid will never forget what you did for him. Too many people don't, not just pro athletes. He wrote in that from their family members, a close family member, their son cried when they left and begged not to leave, and they left anyway. The story broke my heart. So it's home. It's
and there's more stories out there like that, right? I mean,
too many.
It's not just one. Too many.
Yeah. Captain Marvelous, best dad ever. Prairie writes in, everyone is saying great dad. Yeah, we don't know what actions you're taking to remedy the broken heart of a child. Easy choice, I say. Don't know what she's meaning by that, but at the end of the day, there's multiple factors as far as where the kids are at and what we're doing with it. And I'll just throw in, aside from that comment, it's it's the quality of the time as well. We can make the time, but are we really present? I remember when I was putting my son to bed at night when he was young, and he said to me, "Are we gonna snuggle?" He's like 5 years old. I'm like, "Yeah, we're gonna snuggle." He goes, "You're gonna be on your phone," and I said, "I gotta finish some work. You're not welcome here for snuggling unless that phone gets put away."
See, they tell you the truth, don't they?
Oh, yes, they do. IK writes in, sometimes parents sacrifice it all for a kid's upbringing. A tough decision at times, but the reward is great. Heather Lee, parents work. That's how they financially support their families. Sometimes it requires traveling. Not everyone is in the MLB and still misses out. Yeah. And Mike Doyle writes in, finish your baseball career. It doesn't last long in most cases. You'll be able to provide a great life to your son. Most do not have the choice. And that's where, again, it was the differentiation between playing career versus coaching career. But on the same token, how many guys, Steve, are in the twilight of their playing career and have to make those sacrifices?
Yeah, I mean, when you're in the twilight of your playing career and your earning potential is really short, like we talked about before, when you're in Major League Baseball, you might have to get another job after playing baseball for a couple of years if you don't earn the money that you expected to earn. Some guys play longer, some guys make a little bit more money, and some guys are able to put themselves in that position. And the fortunate ones, it's great. I mean, and I don't want to say the fortunate ones. I mean, the people who were fortunate enough to play for that period of time to make money can make those decisions. And not everybody can. And I wish everybody could, because that would be a great thing.
Absolutely. But again, there's sacrifices and there's considerations and priorities. Question mark writes in respected decision. TBMX, you are quite the father for that. What inspiration. Scott Parks, every father reaches this point. Money can never buy time. And Brian Swisher writes in, good for you. This is a struggle that too many men and women face, having to leave home for work for extended periods, being on the road. So shout out to dads and moms out there, because
absolutely
both of them could be making these sacrifices very easily. We're both fathers here, so that's where we can easily relate. But same token, moms could be facing the exact same struggles as single moms, and also just as even part of a together family with more than one parent, and still having to make those sacrifices on the road. Yeah,
agree 100% with you.
Mustaches writes in, great for him and his family. Another user writes in, think of all the people who have jobs that they can't drop, and even though they live at home, can't spend that much time with their kids. Here's one that you're gonna like. This another oh boy. User writes in, I did prison time with the son of an MLB pitcher. We got out. He went back on a life sentence. I always wondered if not having his dad around contributed. You want to touch
Never
on
know,
this?
right? I mean, that's one of those things where it's really tough, right? I mean, you hear a story like that who has firsthand knowledge of spending time in prison with somebody, and then getting out and not straighten out their life, and that's tough. I mean, but again, there are challenges with everybody. I think we both understand that, and it's up to each individual to look within themselves to try to make the best possible choices that they can and create their journey.
I've seen parents, two parents there, educated, good jobs, respectable. The children still take a different path, and I've seen kids grow up in real struggles and then made something of their lives. So, it's very easy to blame environment and circumstances and everything else. Everybody's got their own journey and their path. And at some point we have to look with ourselves and what path we want to take, given our circumstances. Fence Jumper writes in, he agrees with the previous writer as far as thanks for not being like Tom Brady. I think he's missing out. Another user wrote in, Tom loves himself more than his family. So I wrote to that, are you and Tom tight? A lot of people judging Tom Brady here, apparently, but we don't live in Tom Brady's shoes and we don't know the kind of time he's spending. So let's try to ease up on Tom Brady a little bit. Alex Johnson, every decision of my life is based on how much time I can spend with my two boys. Johnny Stay Moist. Sorry, Johnny Stay Moist writes in. Being present is all our children want from us. Being present, it's that simple. Good job, Dad. KGP writes in, time with your kids goes by fast. You'll be able to look back with pride knowing you were there for it. All of it. Big Cat, good for you. Time is a thief. You'll never get this time back. Another person, Daniel Murphy, writes in hashtag dad status. Bonnie Smith, great man. John Dooley, good for you. And Moneymaker NYC, or you wasn't really that good and you was about to get cut.
Yeah, it happens. Like I said, it's one of those things in baseball. It's what have you done for me lately, and you try to do the best you can, and sometimes you get released and try to find another job, and that's part of life. I mean, that's part of what baseball is, and how successful you can be at it. And if you're not successful, the team has the option to send you down, put you on waivers, or just give you technically a pink slip and release you, and then you're on your way.
Is it like in the movie Major League when you're in spring training and you come to your locker and you're afraid to open it because there's a pink slip in it? True or false?
It's done a little bit differently now. Usually somebody comes to you, whether it's the clubhouse guy or one of the coaches, and basically whispers in your ear and says, hey, the manager wants to see you, or the farm director wants to see you. And when that happens, you kind of have an idea of what that conversation might be like.
In the Indians clubhouse, Jobu is not there?
Jobu is not there.
No Jobu. No rum for Jobu. Okay.
No rum for Jobu.
A couple last comments here. Blaine Bout puts a picture of a goat. So you are the goat, the greatest of all time. And Ted Haley, so great. My son's just 10 this month. I've changed jobs and now get to be with him in the morning for the first time ever. It's awesome.
That's the great feeling that I have as well. He's talking about being in the mornings. I get to get up with him. I get to make breakfast. I get to put him in the car, or tell him to get in the car, not put him in the car, but and then take him to school and drop him off, and then go about my day and try to do what I need to get done. And then, at times go pick him up, when she doesn't. So it's something that I have to get used to. I've never been able to do that before, prior to, this past spring training. And, it's a lot of fun, and it's about the quality of time, right? I mean, I think one of the people who wrote in said it's about being present, right? Yeah, you can spend time with them, but it's the quality time and you being present in building that bond and building that relationship with them as they get older.
So to sum this all up in this chapter, Steve, when we started off the project and you're saying, I really hope people are going to write comments. I'd love to hear their feedback and see how we can relate. You got what you asked for, my friend, and pretty early on. How does it feel now hearing this level of comments and, touching this many lives?
It's great. Like, I never expected it to happen so soon. And, when we talked about this, but it's special. It's reaching out to people. It's people who are taking the time to listen to the clip that you're putting out there, listen to the words, listen to the meaning, and then hopefully that translates into helping them make better decisions for their family, for their kids. And then, we talk about baseball and we talk about some other things, but to really hear those comments and to really hear the meaning of those comments being, sent back my way, I thank them very much, and I really appreciate the kind words that they're giving me. But again, as we talked about, everybody has a journey, everybody has an understanding of what they need to do, and there are a lot more people out there like me that don't get the comments that are should be applauded for what they do.
Thank you for saying that. And that's where the people that don't get those comments per se, that's where I definitely encourage them. On our YouTube channel, we have the full documentary series, and every week it goes up on Thursday. Go hit that subscribe button. Watch the documentary series. If you're seeing clips on through social media, please write in. I was telling you the truth. Steve was telling you the truth. You put it in there, chances are we're going to put you out there. You're going to get that voice, and you get to do it through the series. So while it is the story of Steve's baseball journey per se, in his life journey, it's also all of ours together. So Steve wants everyone to be a part of this, and for you to hear your journey and reflect on where you're going in life, as we all are. So that's why it is the chosen journey. So we're going to stop here, Steve. We covered a lot of the comments, and I'm sure we'll have more in the future. And when one's interesting and or relevant are going to come up, they'll pop up in the different chapters. And you never know where we're going to be headed, week to week. There's so many aspects of life, and your baseball story is a great one. And we just finished off chapter 5, and now we're going to be on to chapter 6.
Absolutely. And I just want to say thank you again for all the kind comments that are coming back. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to hearing more.
Thanks, everyone. See you back in chapter 6.